I sat at the end of the table while everyone laughed. My older sister Vanessa stood with her wine glass raised, smiling like she just told the funniest joke in the world. Except the joke was me. "Let's be honest," she said, her voice carrying across the crowded restaurant. "Ariana is too dumb for college. She should really stick to simple dreams, you know? Nothing that requires actual thinking." The entire family erupted. My aunts covered their mouths. My uncles slapped the table. My cousins exchanged knowing glances. Even the waiter paused to watch the show. My cheeks burned. I wanted to disappear into the floor. This was supposed to be a celebration dinner for Vanessa's graduation, but somehow it had turned into my public execution. I gripped my napkin under the table, my knuckles white. Then my mother leaned close, her breath warm against my ear. "Just accept it, honey," she whispered. "She's right." Something inside me cracked that night. Not broke, cracked. Like a windshield before it shatters completely. My name is Ariana Brooks, and that night broke something in me. I had spent my entire life living in Vanessa's shadow. She was the smart one, the successful one, the daughter everyone bragged about at church. While she collected academic awards, I struggled through every school year like I was wading through mud. I had dyslexia. Reading took me twice as long as everyone else. Math problems jumbled on the page. Teachers spoke in fast forward while I processed everything in slow motion. But my family didn't see it as a learning difference. They saw it as stupidity. "Vanessa got the brains," my aunt would say, patting my head like I was a puppy. "But Ariana has a sweet personality." Translation: "You're nice because you're too dumb to be anything else." Vanessa never defended me. She fed off the comparisons. They made her shine brighter. One evening I was washing dishes when I overheard her voice from the living room. "Ariana will never survive on her own," she told our relatives with absolute certainty. "She can barely handle basic tasks." I scrubbed that plate until my hands hurt. 2 days after the dinner, I came home from my retail job exhausted. I dropped my bag and opened my phone to dozens of notifications. Vanessa had posted a video. My stomach dropped as I pressed play. There she was, perfectly lit, perfectly styled, speaking directly to the camera. "So my sister thinks she's going to accomplish big things," she laughed. "The dropout sister. The one who couldn't even pass high school English without summer school. It's honestly adorable how delusional she is." The comments were brutal. Family friends I'd known for years left laughing emojis and agreed with her assessment. I locked myself in the bathroom and cried until my eyes swelled. But somewhere between the tears and the anger, something changed. I looked at myself in the mirror, red-eyed, defeated, small, and made a decision. I would prove every single one of them wrong. Not someday. Not eventually. Starting right now. I pulled out my old notebooks from under my bed that night. Buried between grocery lists and doodles, I found it. The app idea. 2 years ago, I'd sketched out a concept for a productivity app designed specifically for people with learning differences. Something that used visual cues, audio options, and flexible layouts. Something I wished had existed when I was drowning in school. I'd shown it to Vanessa once. She'd laughed so hard she nearly choked. "Who's going to use that?" she'd said. "Just admit you're bad at planning and move on." I'd shoved the notebook away and never looked at it again. Until now. I flipped through the pages, my old excitement returning. The ideas weren't perfect, but they were real. They could help people like me. The next morning I called my friend Malik. He was the only person who'd never treated me like I was less than. I showed him the sketches over coffee. He studied them carefully, then looked up at me with wide eyes. "Ariana," he said slowly, "this could actually work. I made a mistake. I told my mother about the app. I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd be supportive. That she'd see I was trying to build something meaningful. Instead, she immediately called Vanessa. Within an hour, my sister burst through my bedroom door without knocking. "Are you serious right now?" she demanded, waving her phone in my face. "You're trying to build an app? You can barely use your phone without asking for help." "That's not true," I said quietly. "This is embarrassing, Ariana. For the whole family. People already think you're a joke. Do you want to prove them right?" "I think I can do this." She stepped closer, her voice dropping to something cold and sharp. "If you go through with this ridiculous idea, I'll make sure nobody takes you seriously. I have connections. I have influence. You have nothing. She left my room, slamming the door so hard my mirror shook. I sat on my bed, shaking. Then I opened my laptop and started researching coding tutorials. I worked 40 hours a week at a department store, folding clothes and dealing with rude customers. The pay was terrible, but it kept me fed. Every night after work, I stayed up watching YouTube videos about app development. My eyes burned from screen time. My back ached from sitting hunched over my laptop. But I kept going. Malik introduced me to someone through his gaming community, a developer named Troy who did freelance mentoring on the side. He charged almost nothing because he believed in helping people break into tech. We had our first video call on a Tuesday night. I was so nervous I could barely speak. Troy was patient. He didn't treat me like I was stupid when I asked basic questions. He explained things 3 different ways until I understood. "You've got a good foundation here," he said, looking at my sketches. "It's rough, but the core idea is solid. We can work with this." I scheduled weekly sessions with him. For the first time in years, I felt like I was moving towards something instead of running away from everything. 3 months later, I had a rough prototype. It wasn't pretty. It was buggy and slow. But it worked. Troy reviewed it during our call, clicking through the features. I held my breath. After what felt like an eternity, he sat back and smiled. "Ariana," he said, "you've got something here. Something real." I wanted to cry from relief. That same afternoon, Vanessa showed up at my workplace unannounced. She strode in wearing designer sunglasses and carrying shopping bags, talking loudly on her phone about her new marketing job. She spotted me at the register and made a show of coming over. "Ariana, still here I see," she said, loud enough for customers to hear. Then she noticed my notebook sitting on the counter, the one with my app sketches. Her eyes narrowed. She reached for it. "What's this?" I grabbed it first, pulling it against my chest. "Nothing," I said. "Right," she laughed. "Nothing. Just like always." She left, but not before taking a long look at me like she was calculating something. 2 weeks later, my mother called me over for dinner. When I arrived, Vanessa was already there, sitting on the couch with her arms crossed. "We need to talk," my mother said. They'd planned an intervention. "Honey, Vanessa is worried about you," my mother began. "She says you're becoming obsessed with this app thing, that you're not sleeping, that you're letting it consume your life." "I'm working on something important," I said. "You're delusional," Vanessa interrupted. "You're embarrassing yourself. And us. We just want you to let go of these unrealistic dreams," my mother said gently. "Accept your limitations." I stood to leave, but Malik had been waiting outside. He came in holding his phone. "Before she goes," he said, "you should hear something." He pressed play. Vanessa's voice filled the room, recorded from a conversation she'd had with a mutual friend. "I need Ariana to fail at this," she said clearly. "If she actually succeeds, I'll lose everything. People will stop seeing me as the successful one. I have to stay ahead of her." The room went silent. My mother looked shocked. Vanessa's face flushed red. I left without saying another word. My anger hardened into pure purpose. I finished the prototype 2 months later. Troy approved it for beta testing. I recruited 20 people through online forums for individuals with dyslexia and ADHD. They tested it for 2 weeks. The feedback was overwhelming. "This actually helps," one person wrote. "I've tried a dozen apps and nothing worked like this. Finally something that doesn't treat me like I'm broken," another said. I compiled the testimonials and launched a crowdfunding page. My goal was modest, $5,000 to improve the design and add features. I posted it on a Friday evening and went to bed terrified nobody would care. When I woke up Saturday morning, I had already raised $1,200. By Sunday I hit my goal. People were sharing it. Strangers were leaving encouraging comments. For the first time in my life I felt seen. Not as the dumb sister. Not as a family disappointment. As someone who had built something that mattered. Then Vanessa found the page. She left a public comment using her real name. "My sister is too dumb to finish anything real. She barely graduated high school. Don't waste your money on someone who can't even read properly." I stared at the screen, my hands shaking. But something unexpected happened. People clapped back immediately. Imagine being this bitter about your own sister. This comment tells me everything I need to know about you and nothing about her. Just donated out of spite for this awful person. Within hours, the donations doubled. People were contributing specifically because they'd seen Vanessa's cruelty and wanted to support me. By Monday morning, I'd raised $15,000. I woke up to messages from strangers telling me to keep going, that they believed in me, that I was going to prove everyone wrong. I cried reading them, but this time they were good tears. I quit my retail job the following week. It was terrifying. I had no backup plan, no safety net. But I couldn't split my focus anymore. Troy introduced me to a designer named Jasmine, who specialized in accessible interfaces. She agreed to work for equity in the company instead of upfront payment. We spent 6 weeks rebuilding the app from the ground up. The new version was clean, intuitive, and beautiful. A micro-influencer with 50,000 followers stumbled across it while researching productivity tools. She posted a glowing review, and suddenly my small user base exploded. Downloads went from hundreds to thousands overnight. Then I got an email that changed everything. Ms. Brooks, I represent Catalyst Ventures. We invest in early-stage startups with social impact. We'd like to schedule a meeting to discuss your app. I read it 17 times before I believed it was real. Malik screamed when I told him. You're meeting with actual investors. He kept repeating. This is happening. The meeting took place in a sleek downtown office. I wore my only professional outfit and hoped my nervousness didn't show. The investor, a woman named Patricia, listened carefully as I explained the app's purpose, the market gap, and my vision for growth. You've identified a real problem, she said. And your solution is elegant. But I need to know. Can you handle the pressure of scaling this? Yes, I said, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. Good. Because people will doubt you. They'll say you're not qualified, not educated enough, not experienced enough. Can you trust yourself over those critics? I thought about Vanessa's face when she called me too dumb. About my mother's whispered agreement. I already do, I said. Patricia smiled. Then we have a deal. She offered $50,000 in seed funding. I signed the papers with shaking hands. Walking out of that building, I called Malik and burst into tears on the phone. I did it, I sobbed. I actually did it. With the funding, I rented a small office space and hired 3 people. Jasmine, a developer named Carlos, and a part-time operations coordinator. We were tiny but passionate. My confidence grew with every milestone. I learned to lead meetings, make tough decisions, and trust my instincts. The app hit 10,000 downloads. Then 20,000. Vanessa started texting me again after months of silence. Suddenly she was so proud and wanted to catch up properly. I ignored most of her messages. Then I received an invitation to present at TechRise Expo, a major conference for emerging startups. This was my chance to get real visibility. I accepted immediately. The expo was overwhelming. Hundreds of booths, thousands of attendees, venture capitalists everywhere. Our booth was modest, but within an hour, we had a steady stream of visitors. People loved the demo. They asked smart questions. Several exchanged business cards with me. A representative from Summit Capital, one of the biggest VC firms in the region, stopped by. He spent 20 minutes testing the app and asking about our growth strategy. We should talk more, he said, handing me his card. Seriously. I was buzzing with excitement. Then I saw her. Vanessa walked through the expo hall wearing a bright blazer and a practiced smile. She waved when she spotted me and approached like we were the best of friends. Ariana, this is amazing, she said loudly, hugging me in front of everyone. She posed for photos at my booth, touching the promotional materials, acting like the supportive sister. I smiled politely, but my stomach churned. She was performing. That evening, Vanessa texted me asking to meet for coffee. I want to reconnect, she wrote. I know things have been rocky, but you're my sister. Can we talk? It felt rehearsed, calculated. I agreed anyway, curious about her angle. We met at a cafe near my apartment. She ordered an expensive latte and spent 10 minutes apologizing. I was jealous, she admitted. I said horrible things because I felt threatened. But I've grown. I want to support you now. It almost sounded genuine. That night Malik called me. Weird question, he said. But Vanessa reached out asking if I knew about job openings at your startup. Did you offer her something? My blood went cold. No, I said. She hasn't mentioned that at all. The next morning, Vanessa sent another text. Can we meet again? I have a proposal I think you'll like. There it was. We met at my office this time. Vanessa wasted no time getting to the point. I need a job, she said flatly. My marketing position didn't work out. I've been applying everywhere but nothing's clicking. And I realized you're building something real here. You need someone with my experience. I'm not hiring right now, I said carefully. You're my sister, she pressed. It's only fair. I helped shape who you are. All those years pushing you made you tougher, right? You owe me something. I stared at her, stunned by the audacity. I don't owe you anything, Vanessa. Her expression hardened. You're really going to turn me away? After everything? Yes. She left without another word. That evening my mother called. Vanessa is really struggling, she said. It would mean so much if you hired her. Family loyalty matters, Ariana. Don't forget where you came from. I hung up feeling sick. The next day, I received a LinkedIn message from someone I didn't know. Hi Ariana, I used to work with Vanessa at her last job. I saw she's been contacting you. I thought you should know something. They sent me screenshots. Vanessa had been fired for creating a hostile work environment. Multiple employees had filed complaints about her bullying behavior. HR had documented everything before letting her go. She's been lying on applications saying she left voluntarily. The message continued. I thought you deserved the truth. I saved every screenshot. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. From clarity. Vanessa showed up at my office unannounced the following Tuesday. We need to talk properly, she said, walking past reception like she owned the place. I was ready. Actually, yes. Let's talk in the conference room. I called my entire team and Jasmine, Carlos, and our coordinator. Vanessa looked confused when they filed in and sat down. What is this? She asked. A professional meeting, I said calmly, sitting at the head of the table. I opened my laptop and connected it to the TV screen on the wall. Before we discuss employment, I want everyone to hear something. I pressed play on the recording Malik had made months ago. Vanessa saying she needed me to fail so she could stay ahead. Her voice filled the room, cold and calculating. Vanessa's face was drained of all color. That was taken out of context, she said quickly. It was a joke I didn't mean. Let me add some context then, I interrupted. I pulled up the screenshots from her former coworker. You were fired for bullying, I said evenly. You created such a toxic environment that multiple people filed formal complaints. This isn't about me being vindictive. This is about you showing me exactly who you are. Vanessa's eyes darted around the room, looking for an ally. Finding none, she snapped. You don't understand what it's like, she shouted. Everyone always expected me to be perfect. You got sympathy for your learning problems, but I had to actually succeed. And now you're acting like you're better than me because you made some stupid app. I deserve this job, she continued, her voice rising. You wouldn't even have tried if I hadn't pushed you. You owe me. The conference room was completely silent. Jasmine looked uncomfortable. Carlos stared at the table. Nobody spoke. I stood up, my voice calm and clear. You once told a room full of people that I was too dumb for college. You posted a video calling me the dropout sister. You tried to sabotage my crowdfunding campaign. And when none of that worked, you showed up here demanding I hand you a job. Vanessa opened her mouth, but I kept going. I built this company from nothing. With my dyslexia. With my supposedly limited intelligence. I proved every single person wrong, but especially you. I met her eyes directly. You don't get to be part of this. Not because I'm cruel, but because you've shown me you'll tear down anyone to stay on top. That's not someone I want on my team. Vanessa stood abruptly, her chair scraping loudly. You're making a huge mistake, she said coldly. No, I replied. I'm making the right decision. She stormed out, slamming the door. The room exhaled collectively. My phone buzzed minutes later. An email from Summit Capital. We'd like to schedule a serious conversation about major investment. I smiled. Summit Capital offered $200,000 to scale nationally, with plans for international expansion. The meetings were intense, but I held my ground on maintaining the app's accessibility mission. They agreed to my terms. A journalist from a major tech publication reached out wanting to feature my story for their Founders to Watch series. The interview was scheduled for the following week. During our prep call, the journalist asked, "Would you be comfortable if we interviewed family members? It adds a personal dimension." I hesitated. "You can ask, but I can't control what they'll say." "That's fair," she replied. I had a feeling I knew exactly what would happen. The interview came out beautifully. I talked about growing up with dyslexia, feeling like I'd never measure up, and finding purpose in building something that helped people like me. I never mentioned Vanessa by name. I kept it focused on growth, perseverance, and the importance of accessible design. But the journalist was thorough. She'd found Vanessa's old public comments, the video, the crowdfunding page attack. She included them in the article with the context. Despite facing public ridicule from her own family, Brooks persisted. The article went viral. Thousands of people shared it, praising my resilience and condemning the cruelty I'd faced. Vanessa called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. Finally, she left a voicemail, her voice shaking with rage. "You let them expose me," she hissed. "You did this on purpose. You wanted to humiliate me." I deleted it without listening to the whole thing. Over the next few months, I watched from a distance as Vanessa's world contracted. Friends stopped tagging her in posts. Her LinkedIn engagement disappeared. Job interviews dried up. Her reputation, built on being the golden child, the successful one, crumbled under the weight of her own cruelty made public. Our mother called me one afternoon, her voice small. "I think I may have believed Vanessa too much," she admitted quietly. "I didn't see what she was doing to you. I'm sorry." It was the first time she'd ever apologized to me. "I appreciate that," I said, though the words felt hollow. The damage was already done. "She's really struggling," my mother continued. "She's asking for help, but nobody will give her a chance. Do you think could you possibly?" "No," I said firmly. "I can't fix this for her. She has to face the consequences of her choices." There was a long pause. "I understand," my mother finally said. "I just hoped." "I know," I replied. "But hope isn't enough anymore." The app hit 100,000 downloads 6 months after the article. We expanded the team to 15 people. We added new features based on user feedback. We partnered with schools and organizations supporting individuals with learning differences. Every day, I received messages from users telling me how the app changed their lives. I finally feel like I can keep up. This doesn't make me feel broken. Thank you for understanding. Those messages meant more than any investment, any article, any success metric. I'd built something that mattered. Vanessa sent me an email on the anniversary of that terrible graduation dinner. "I don't expect forgiveness," she wrote. "But I need you to know that I see what I did now. I was wrong. About everything." I read it twice, then closed my laptop. Maybe one day I'd respond. But not today. I stood in front of 200 people at a conference, giving a keynote speech about building accessible technology. My hands didn't shake anymore. My voice was steady. "I was told I was too dumb for college," I said to the crowd. "That I should stick to simple dreams. That I'd never survive on my own." The room was silent, attentive. I believed those voices for too long. But eventually I realized something important. The people who tell you that you can't are usually the ones who are afraid that you will. Applause rippled through the audience. After the speech, people lined up to talk to me. Students with learning differences. Parents of struggling kids. Educators looking for better tools. Malik stood in the back, grinning like an idiot, holding up his phone to record. As I shook hands and exchanged ideas, I thought about that girl sitting at the end of the table, cheeks burning with shame. I wished I could tell her what I knew now. That she wasn't too dumb. She was just surrounded by people too small to see her potential. And one day she'd prove all of them wrong.